Hello and welcome to another video on the Life After Brady channel. Today we're going to take a look at 5 questions from the Patriots Weekly Mailbag posted on their website earlier this week, week 16. This is the link to where the questions are from. You can see their answers at that link. So first, how much of a factor has it been over the past couple of years that assistant staff was basically dismantled by Flores and McDaniel? I don't think that gets talked about enough. So basically the point here is 2 Patriots assistants, Brian Flores first with the Dolphins, and then Josh McDaniel with the Raiders, took several key assistants with them when they got their head coaching jobs, as is natural. All teams do that. You've seen similar things happen with San Francisco when the Miami job opened again this year, and then Robert Saleh took a couple guys with him to the New York Jets. So to me, that's not a complete excuse. I think part of the problem, though, is Bill Belichick has a philosophy generally of he likes to work with guys for a while, kind of build him up. You've seen that with Matt Patricia. You saw it with guys in the past that they started in lower level assistant jobs and then worked their way up to coordinator jobs. Really, the last 5 years or so, he's defaulted to not giving coordinator jobs. At least saying he's not doing it. Matt Patricia is obviously default offensive coordinator this year. On the defensive side, you've got Steve Belichick and Gerard Mayo, both working heavily there. But I think this point's really key, that he struggled to adapt his model to bring in premier talent. You've seen Nick Saban do a phenomenal job down at Alabama. He just goes and finds the top coaches and brings them in, whether it's for a year or 3 years. He doesn't care whether it's Lane Kiffin, Bill O'Brien, a couple guys like that. He's really adapted. And I feel like Bill has just struggled to adapt there, particularly on the offensive side. Most recently, Josh McDaniel took Mick Lombardi. Those are 2 key guys. Chad O'Shea was a receiver coach in 2018 and then was the Dolphins OC 2019. They obviously 2016 had Brian Dable on the staff. He was a tight ends coach at the time. He then goes to Alabama as an OC, and then it's Buffalo with Josh Allen, and eventually is down with the New York Giants. So I think you've really seen a drain on the offensive staff that I think it gets talked about plenty. I mean, it's terrible that Matt Patricia is the one who's ended up holding up the rope at this point, where you probably should have gone with someone else. So clearly, that is a problem. Next, I have one question. Why? I'll take the answer off the air. Secondly, here's my question. What the hell are we doing? A couple things. I think a lack of plan for the second-year quarterback is a big thing. Now, you see a lot of third-year quarterbacks where they're making their jump. You see Jalen Hurts down in Philadelphia making a jump his 3rd year. You saw Joe Burrow last year. Justin Herbert and Tua more so taking a jump this year. Herbert's obviously been good for a couple of years now. So clearly, though, a lack of plan in the second year that needs to change for the 3rd year. Who are his weapons? What's the scheme? Is this going to be a 3rd different offensive scheme that he's going to have to learn this offseason? They really just didn't have a plan with him. They tried those zone running concept. Those have not worked out well. And then secondly, I'd say the lack of really superstars from that spending spree in the 2021 free agency. Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry have been solid. They clearly were better than Devin Asiasi and Dalton Keene, but far and away they're not Travis Kelce. They're obviously not Gronk. They're not Kittle. They're good. They're serviceable, but they've not really been the premier pass catchers that you were hoping for. And then I think you're still a year early on the talent development. Ramondre has been very good. Josh Uche has had a great last month. Kyle Duggar's been good. Obviously, the pick 6 Sunday against the Raiders. And then Jonathan Jones has been good, but I think, is he truly a premier number 1 corner? Not exactly. I think he's still too small. Obviously, you're not expecting him to be Stephon Gilmore, the Defensive Player of the Year a couple of years ago, but they just really have not had development, though I could see that changing next year as those guys take another step forward. Next up, if or when the Pats lose out the next 3 games, which is a strong possibility, do you see changes happen in the offseason? And if so, what do you think they'll look like? I want to win and make the playoffs, but at the same time, if we play well and make it to the playoffs, I feel like the coaching staff will stay intact. I hate to say it, but losing will be the best way to facilitate changes on the offensive side of the ball. You would like to think that the Patriots are not morons. I think if every fan can see that their struggles offensively, the red zone struggle is the worst in the offense, worst in the NFL. Mac Jones taking a step back this year in every statistical category. They know that they're not where they need to be. If they go win 2 out of the 3 next games, 13-10 type games maybe, I still don't see things staying intact for 2023. I think they know better. The only concern I have is that people think, on a year-to-year basis. Does Bill think on a longer-term basis? Hey, this was kind of a trial year. This is really a 2-year plan of let me get Mac Jones more comfortable. Let me get Matt Patricia more comfortable. They'll get more comfortable with the offense together. That communication gets better compared to, let me just bring in a fresh new face because new is not always better. What's the development? I don't see that happening. I do see that having to change based on what we've seen thus far. I think another problem, Devin McCourty, the leader of that defense, likely to retire this offseason. That would be a big loss. They have plenty of safeties on the team, but obviously there's no replacing Devin McCourty in the decade plus he's spent here. And then what's the development like? Mac Jones, Ramondre, Duggar, Uche, a couple of guys I named, Wayu and Strange on the offensive line. Um, how do those guys develop? Because that's one thing that's lacking to me, and we'll see Wednesday what the Pro Bowl voting looks like. But the Patriots are not lining up with Pro Bowlers, and you still need top talent to win in this league, which they do not have at this point. Is Mac going to get a pass this year because of Patricia, or do you think Bill and the rest of the coaching staff are thinking beyond Mac, as it looks like he hasn't really been up to it regardless of that poor offensive coaching? Bill's not one to make excuses, for everyone's experience, and no one gets cut slack, I would say. I think there'll be some understanding of what struggled, the communication issues. Clearly, the plays are not getting in a timely manner. I think there's a lack of trust there, but I don't think he's going to get a pass by any means. He's missing throws, that's clear. Is it some on the receivers? Possibly, but he has to be better. I do think there's more competition in 2023 for Mac at the quarterback position. I don't think it's a first round draft pick. Um, I think you still there's a lack of talent on this team, and a top 20 pick likely coming to you. I think you probably pass where the quarterbacks are. It's not a top 5 pick that you're getting one of the guys. So I think you're not really bringing in someone to replace him. I could see them trying to see what the market is for a backup quarterback, a step up from where Brian Hoyer was, obviously. No one truly to compete with him. The names that are coming to my mind are, Trubisky, Darnold, what's Baker's situation? There's a couple guys out there that, hey, is there a $5 million contract out there that you can bring someone to, truly push him? Or what does Zappy look like? Does Zappy take a step forward this offseason? I do think you'll see more competition for Mac because this performance this year is clearly not acceptable. With that, that's all we have for you today. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. And as always, please like and subscribe. Thank you.